Welcome back to the U-Man channel, and today I'm going to do a review on my BAK Industries BAKFlip MX4 tonneau cover. Now you may be wondering why I would do a review after 3.5 years, and the reason for that is because I'm going to be replacing it. So before I do the replacement, I figure I'd show you guys how this thing held up and the things I liked about it and the things I didn't like about it and why I decided to go with something different. So let's get into it. First off, I really like the way these things have held up appearance-wise. It still looks really good. Other than a few dings and scuffs, there's really nothing I can complain about how this finish is held up. It's a very heavy-duty panel construction, and you can put a 400-pound load on there as long as it's equally distributed. I could walk up there and never had a problem with them flexing too much. So I really like that. I also like the ability to carry something on top of it if you had to. This is a load-bearing cover, like I said, and sometimes if you just get those long pieces of lumber or some long component, you could open that back window, slide it through the back window into the cab area, and then just secure it and have it sitting on the top of the tonneau cover instead of sticking 4 feet out the back of your tailgate. I've also been very happy with how weather-tight this has been. I've never really had any problems with water getting in except for maybe around the corners or edges somewhere. And that was also probably only in the worst of storms or as snow was melting and sitting on top of there. And now we come to the biggest reason I decided to go with a hard roll-up cover as opposed to these flip-ups. Biggest problem that I got is when you have this thing opened up and you're trying to back up your gooseneck or fifth wheel into it, you can do that with it 3/4 open, but you can't see your hitch or your goose ball. End up having to get in and out of the truck constantly, trying to position it just right. And when you have it in the completely up position, you cannot even utilize that backup camera to get close. So that was one of the things that made me decide to go another route and not get another hard flip-up cover. This is the view from the high backup camera with the tonneau 3/4 open. You can't see the goose ball that's in there right now, and if I were to put the fifth wheel hitch into there, all you would see is the last edge of it, and it doesn't really do you that much good for backing it. And this is what it looks like when you flip it all the way up. That backup camera becomes completely useless except for if you want to take a nice look at the sky behind you. To get full access to the bed, you have to flip that cover completely open. And that means you lose all visibility out the back. It might offer some protection to the window in some cases, but I don't like that I can't see out the window if the load is just a little bit taller than the bed rails. I also like being able to keep an eye on the load in back there to make sure things aren't shifting around while you're driving and not having to get out to inspect things all the time. Another annoying thing about these big panels is that they are very heavy and they're difficult to operate from outside the truck, especially if you got a truck as tall as this one. If you want to jump up into the bed and just fold them over, easy as pie. But if you're trying to do it from the outside, it can be a little bit difficult. If you ever have to take these panels off for whatever reason, it's not the easiest thing to remove. You have to first crawl underneath the last section there and take a couple of screws out, and then you got to find somebody else to help you get it off because these are very heavy and bulky, and you need 2 people to get them off without possibly damaging your truck. Putting it back together, you got to put them on there, and then you got to crawl under there, put the screws back on, and then you got to go through a little bit of an alignment thing and tighten everything up. So it's a little bit inconvenient. Speaking of inconvenient, the other problem with this is that they have these rubber components that go into the ends of the hinge section of the panels, and I found that those things were constantly popping out, and when that happens, it allows the panels to slide side to side and everything gets out of alignment, and all the other stuff they use to hold it together gets out of whack, and you're constantly messing around with that. This is what it looks like. And now for the ugly. These are the things that really disappointed me the most with this cover. The plastic components they use on the latching system are very thin and too weak for the application, in my opinion. The cable covers for the release system started cracking and breaking after about a year, especially during the winter months. And it's because the way these things fold over on each other, they put these rubber foam things that you tape onto there that are supposed to keep everything separated, but the panels still do shift around a little bit because of the way they fold. And those covers started cracking, and then I had them start breaking out, and then on the one side, you had to pull it from the left side because the right side was broken out, and if you pulled on the cable, it wouldn't release the right side. This is what that looked like. After 3 years, the rubber hinge material started cracking. This is the little strips on the top surface. I don't open and close this thing daily or multiple times a day or anything, and other thing that was surprising was that since my truck is inside most of the time during the day when it's not being used, it's not getting a tremendous amount of sun exposure during the heat of the day. So that would be a concern in a more southern climate for me. And finally, my last gripe about this thing is that the retainer clips they use to secure the cover open, they've been a constant problem since the beginning. They had broken constantly, and I've had to replace them numerous times. You can see here I got a beige one that I put on there, and the other one at this moment is broken as well. I never got around to replacing because I decided to get a new cover. Well, there you have it. Those are the pros and cons, the good, the bad, the ugly of my experience with the BAKFlip MX4. Overall, it's been a decent cover. I really wish it would have lasted a little bit longer. If you're looking for a cover to be able to carry some weight on, I think this will definitely fit the bill for you. If that backup camera thing is gonna bother you, I would strongly suggest that looking something that's not a flip up. I decided to go with a hard roll-up cover by TruXedo. It's the Sentry CT, I believe, and I'm going to be doing a video of the installation of that here shortly, so keep an eye out for that. And until next time, this is Oliver signing out, and you guys be safe, and we'll see you soon.